You know, most everyone knows, my Facebook friends know that I was locked up. And over the years, you know, I had quite a few cellmates. And there was one that stood out above the rest. I would have to say, yeah, there was definitely one that stood out above the rest. I'll never forget the day they put Martha Stewart in my cell. I knew she was a short timer, so I didn't want to get too close, but we soon became besties. You know, I showed her how to forge driver's licenses and elude the police in a chase. And she showed me how to make Hanukkah gifts using nothing but petrified bird shit, banana peels, and old Skittles wrappers. We both had an affinity for food, and we used to trade recipes back and forth, and it was for this reason that she called me the other day, and she was like, "Sherm, what's up?" She's like, "You got that pork chop recipe?" I was like, "Which pork chop recipe?" She's like, "You remember the pork chop recipe?" And I'm like, "Oh, the Jewish Gangster pork chop recipe." And she was like, "Yeah, that's the one." So I was like, "Yeah, I could, you know, I'll put that together and send you a copy of it or whatnot." And I just figured that I would do it this way, and that way I can, you know, get Martha what she needs, and I could show everybody else at the same time, and that way, you know, I'd kill two birds with one stone. So this is Jewish Gangster pork chops. So basically what you're going to need for this is obviously pork chops, some salt, pepper, garlic powder, an egg, some flour, some fine ground matzah meal, and a dash or two of half and half or even milk will work. And what I like to do is take a medium to large saute pan and melt 2 tablespoons of butter at a medium-high heat. And then you go ahead and basically prepare your chops. I just have some simple pork chops here. What I like to do is, when I open them, if I can, I like to find a use for the styrofoam, because there's so much crap in the landfills these days. If you can just use it for something extra, at least just one time, it seems to work out pretty good. So what I do is I save it, and I'll actually put the flour in the styrofoam tray, and that way when I dip the pork chops, I'm actually using it for something before I throw it away. I like to lightly season the chops. I use basically garlic powder, more like a granulated garlic, so that way there's not as much salt in it. Try to keep down on the sodium a little bit. Plus we're going to be pan cooking them in butter and not in oil, so they already have a little extra sodium. Keep your blood pressure down a little bit. We just put a little salt, a little pepper, a little garlic powder. Hit the other side. And we'll get this done real quick. We'll prepare our breading, get them in the pan, and get it done. What I like to do is put a little bit of cream or half and half in the egg mixture, so it just makes it a little looser. It's easier to coat the chop with. Let me just whip that up like this. That's done. Take our chops. You can set these off to the side. Prepare our tray. Flour here. There we go. And you basically just dip in the flour, dip in the batter, and then right on the breading. And that's basically how it should look. Almost like panko, but this is much better and it's much healthier. So we got our pan ready, and basically just take a tablespoon or two of butter. We'll get that melted down. And the butter's starting to look pretty good. You can go ahead and put your chops in. And while our chops are cooking, don't have much to do, so I'll tell you a prison story. How's that? I was up north across the bridge at a correctional facility called Kinross. I was up there for about 8 years, and they had 3-man cells. So for a couple of years, I had this guy in my cell. His name was Kelly. He's a real selfish prick. You know, you do something nice for him or whatever, or loan him a few bucks, and he would go out and spend it on something that obviously he wasn't supposed to spend it on. Then lie to you and take 2-3 weeks to pay you back. Just a real, you know, just what we call just a bug, a piece of shit. So I had just about enough of Kelly, and he was real like homophobic. He was like anti, you know, homosexual and stuff. And in prison, that's like, I mean, not good. I've seen homosexuals basically knock somebody right out, and you know, and then you know, go on about their business. So Kelly happened to be in the middle of a card game in the activity room, and he used to pride himself on how big he used to act in front of the homeboys. And Steve Irwin had just died a couple weeks before, and that threw me back a little bit. I used to like watching the Animal Planet and watching his show, and his daughter was so cute, you know, and I had a daughter. My daughter was about the same age as Steve Irwin's daughter when he died, and I just imagine, you know, how bad that whole scenario must have been. But then again, with my twisted fucking personality, I came up with this. So I busted into the card room, and in front of everybody, I go, "There goes Kelly into the shower. And up behind him sneaks the elusive black African anaconda, getting ready to shoot his venom right up Kelly's keister. Kelly goes into the shower a man, but he comes out as Sheila. Oh, crikey, what do you say to that? Let's go play with the stingrays, Bendy." Chops are starting to get nice and golden brown. Let them cook up. I usually go about, depending on how thick they are, about 7 to 8 minutes on each side at a medium to high heat. So, anyways, that's pretty much how you cook Jewish gangster pork chops. I like to choose a good beverage with the pork chops, and I happen to have a classic Coca-Cola. So, I believe this is 2015, February. And it's got a great bouquet. We're all ready to go. You know, why they call them Jewish gangster pork chops, I don't have any idea.